And we are, so this is from the Raj Podcast. We have Jacquelynn Wolfheart. Is that right? Is that
Yep. Jacquelynn Wolfheart. Yep. That's me.
Wolfheart? Yes. So, yes, and you wear lots of hats, as we can see on the IMDb. You have a special profile on there. With your credits, you've done lots of stuff: psychologist, producer, author, and so much more stuff you've done in it to your credit. You've done lots of stuff, and but obviously, talking about being a psychologist and working with children who've suffered so much regarding the sex trafficking and all that kind of stuff. So, how did you get into that, into the sex trafficking?
I think one of my dogs is trying to come in right now. That's a long journey. It took me years and years, almost a decade of schooling just to become a psychologist. But the area I live in is very high sex trafficked children. We're third in the world where I live currently. I live in Florida, United States, and super high. So it's around here a lot, but it's something that I, as a child, went through as well. I was trafficked across all of the United States, and I didn't even know until that I was considered trafficked. I was an adult with a degree before I realized that, I was sex trafficked as a child. In my brain, it was just something that was just my life. So I didn't really think anything about it. But it wasn't until I decided I knew I wanted to help people and prevent bad things from happening, but I didn't really think about what sex trafficking is. And just the more I learned and the more I learned how to help, then kind of led my career down that path. So I do work with all sorts of trauma, but sex traffic is probably my most focused area, at least for the last about 10 years is where I've been focusing on that probably.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, the good thing about that is obviously, I mean, not the good thing about what the children have suffered. That's really bad. But we've seen lots of stuff about it. Obviously, not in the uh, mainstream news, but more on the YouTube, probably more, and other places. But yeah, I mean, do you think it's not highlighted enough in the mainstream media? Is there lack of highlight?
Yeah, I don't even know how to say it because there's so many people focused on the Epstein files in the United States right now, which is all about sex trafficking. So you would think that with the whole world right now pleading and talking about release these files, support these victims, you would think that we would be talking about sex trafficking as a whole in general and how to help everybody, how to prevent it. And it's really not talked about. In fact, if anything, they're trying to quiet it down more. And a lot of people don't realize that the way they think is part of the problem, as in, like, I don't want my kids to know about these things. They think, I'm protecting my kids by not letting them know these things are out there or about these certain things, when that's actually the opposite. Like, somebody who's not informed is going to be much more likely to be a victim. So we're definitely not talking about it, even though it's so huge in the media, if that makes sense.
So channels like obviously in the US and stuff, yeah, like you said about the Epstein file, I've heard about it in the UK as well. So it's becoming a big thing, in the UK media, because obviously UK being an ally of the US, so this stuff gets covered in the UK media. Then other stuff which obviously needs to be covered as well, with obviously this is not a small thing, it's a massive thing, which has been affecting so many children in the US, in the UK, around the world and stuff on there. But I suppose with your experience and obviously the things which you've had to go through, that's probably helped you as a psychologist to to help these children, uh, you know, and give them the support which they really need at this time.
Yeah, I know it sounds a little weird to be like grateful for what I went through as a kid, but it
Mm.
really, I think, in the field that I'm working in, it really helped me be more empathetic and understanding and compassionate and caring for these kids. A lot of times what we see on TV is so sensationalized that we it's entertainment. But now I'm dealing with real people's real traumas and real feelings and everything they're going through, and I can literally 100% relate to it. So I think that's helpful. And I think when you're going to therapy in general, you kind of want a therapist who can relate to what you're saying and isn't just, oh, okay, that's great, and just like nodding their head along. You want somebody that understands it, and not just educationally, but like in their heart and soul, understand what you're feeling so they can help you through it. And I think it's been really beneficial for me to help, especially these, man, I get some really, really young kids. And I think the youngest one I've ever gotten was 3 years old. And it, like, how do you, most people would just see that and see that trauma and just be kind of like, like it's a cute puppy. I want to take care of you. I want you to feel good and happy. And there's so much more to it than just trying to make them feel good and feel happy and being taken care of. It's a whole new like brain rewiring that we have to try to do to overcome these traumas. And I think if you don't really have that, um, that mentality of what's going on, then you kind of do just get in that like perfect bubble of I can fix you with my love, and it's beyond being, just being able to fix with love. Although that helps, it does make it nice when there's a lot of love involved.
Yeah, yeah, it does. But I guess someone who is about three, they probably don't understand exactly what they've had to go through. Than a child who's more grown up and they understand what they've suffered. Um, but obviously, someone like yourself, obviously, giving them at least that comfort, uh, that does help. Definitely, the more people that child has, then obviously because you don't want that to spoil their childhood, because it will probably leave a scar somewhere down the line. Um,
Yeah, yeah. People don't really realize how much trauma affects like your whole personality and even like the maturity and growth rate of your body. There's a lot of things that actually come into play. And a kid who's been sexually abused as a child might think that's part of normal behavior. And so they're repeating it on other children, and they're not trying to hurt anybody. They're just like, this is a normal part of life. And it really, like, it really messes with your brains in areas you wouldn't even think. Like, a lot of kids who are sexually abused have a hard time learning to read at a proper age. They're much older before they understand how to read. And you wouldn't think that those things are connected at all. So it really does affect you like on all levels. I mean, it can physically affect your growth, which I think is kind of amazing. It's just really bizarre that it could like affect your growth, your physical growth, like how tall you are, how your genitals develop, even. Um, like you might not go into puberty until you're almost an adult because of something that happened to you, or you might go into puberty when you're only 7 years old because of things that happened to you. It's just really kind of bizarre that how that trauma and stress can affect everything going on in your body, your pituitary gland, your endocrine system, like all these things are affected just by, maybe it was only even one moment that happened to you, maybe it was repeated moments, and so much inside your body has been affected for life by it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, it's hard to imagine. Obviously, like you said, you've been through it, so obviously, you've been through that experience and stuff. And but it's hard to imagine, and probably um there are probably lots of cases which probably don't get noticed, and obviously, um, you know, um, so many cases which are happening, and so many which are probably not ever revealed what's happened to some kids, and how
Yeah.
what they've been through, which is also very which is also very scary, regarding that. And you've obviously you've done lots of stuff. You've released a book, and what is a I've seen you do lots of stuff, and it's hard to talk about what stuff you've done and what stuff to leave out, to be honest. Because you've been a producer, you, and you produce quite a lot of stuff, which is available on Amazon Prime as well. You can get it on Amazon Prime. It's available
Mhm.
on there. But you've released a book. What is this book about exactly? If you like to share, what is this book?
Yeah, so I actually have a few different books, but under slightly different pen names. So I have children's books, and they're written by Dr. Jacquelynn Wolfheart. But this book I decided to just put by J.N. Wolfheart because I didn't want kids to accidentally think it's a children's book. It is not. It is a dark urban fantasy thriller, I guess you can say. It's a novel. It's very long, but it is very dark. It does have traffic victims in it, but it is also fantasy in regards that the hero of the book is a fairy. It is but it's that makes it sound like it's so childish, and I promise it's not. It is um I'm trying to think of like a show that you would even relate it to, but I'm not sure. But it is for mature audiences. I don't really like there's a couple curse words, but it's not like there's a lot of curse words and stuff. But there is violence in there, and there is a lot of metaphors for being sexually abused. I tried to not directly imply anything. I didn't want it to be too triggering for people, but there's a lot of metaphors in there for being sexually assaulted and losing pieces of yourself in that way. So yeah, it's just a dark urban fantasy thriller about getting a bad guy who's doing bad things to kids, and it's a fairy that's saving them all. So it's me. It's me in a nutshell.
And this book, is it already released, or is it due to be released soon?
Yeah, it is released already. You can get it on Kindle. It's on Kindle Unlimited right now, which means if you subscribe to Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free, or any other Kindle Unlimited books. But it's only going to be that way for 90 days. So, well, for like 70 more days, it'll be like that, and then it'll be available. You can buy it on Amazon right now as a hard book or a paperback, but after about 70 more days, it'll be in bookstores everywhere around the world. You can go on any website, Books a Million or whatever, and you'll be able to purchase it from there as well.
Oh yeah, Books a Million, yeah. Right. Okay. Great stuff. And you said you've done a children's book as well, and is that something which was recently released, or was that quite a while?
Those were I have a couple children's books, and they're maybe 2-ish years ago I released them, 2 or 3 years ago. One is a little bit longer. It's more of like a nighttime story. It's about finding your own bravery and overcoming, having your friends help you, and just typical kid stuff. But I was trying to put some lessons in there along the way of how to help yourself through tough moments. And it's about a fox and a rabbit on their journey. So, and it's a little bit longer. I feel like it's more like a children's bedtime story because of the length of it. And then I have a couple, they were actually poems I wrote, but I turned them into children's books. So they're like 10 pages long, where there's only a couple lines per page. And I can't even think, but I think one's like, What Do Pirates Eat? I think is one of them. And Before You Were a Twinkle, that's a poem I wrote when I was pregnant with my youngest son. And it's about like the journey of motherhood, but it's just a couple lines per page, and it's just really soft, really sweet, really quick read for children and mom. I think it's a great book for moms, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, great stuff. Absolutely. So do check it out, and you can get it. So it's available on Amazon, all the good Bars and Noble, all the good places. The
Yep,
children's book.
yep. I do all my books. I try to get them everywhere, but I do try to keep them on Kindle Unlimited for as long as possible because I feel like that's the most cost effective to most people. I know I read a lot. I read a lot of kids' books, especially, and so it's just so much cheaper to pay $10 a month and read 45 books on
Right.
Kindle Unlimited instead of buying 45 books every month. So I do try to keep my everything I do in life, try to make it like easy access for people.
And you've also I've checked on obviously when obviously we go, you Google your name, it comes up with IMDb, and that only comes up if you've done stuff like you've been like a producer, you've been an actor and that kind of stuff. So how did you become a producer?
Oh yeah, that's so yeah, I've acted, I've directed, I've done it all. I think producer
Wow.
comes up most because I do produce my own podcast. I've produced shows, I've produced more things than I've acted or directed in. So it's like comes up as like the main thing on IMDb. But it actually started with me well, first I acted in a couple small roles in films, and then I directed and acted in a feature length film. And that was again based on trafficking. That was some of my clients had wanted to share their stories, and we were trying to talk about a way to share them, but they were a little bit scared about public speaking or writing a book. It just didn't seem like we can get a full book out of it. So we talked about turning it into a film. So my film is based on it's based on multiple true stories, although we combined it to look like it's just one victim. But it's the stories of four different of my clients, former clients, I should say. These were years and years ago clients. But so it's based on their stories, and but we just turned it into one. And we filmed it to look like real, like we use security cameras and stuff, so it doesn't look like a normal movie. It looks like an actual abduction and situation happening as you're watching it. And it was emotional to make, and it was great to get that out there. I think it was really healing for my former clients, and I think people who've watched it feel validated by it. But it is, like I said, it's a dark film. It's the story of traffic. It's a true story of how American trafficking works in a lot of cases. So it is pretty triggering. This sounds so bad, but it's not something I personally would watch, even though I made this film. It's not like my first go-to film,
Yeah.
but it is emotional. And so I just from there just started branching out into doing more with film. I have friends and things who have worked in the film industry, so I've kind of
Okay.
always had like a slight way in, but not really like an easy in, just like somebody I can go to if I have questions kind of stuff. So I'm kind of working my way through that still. It's just something fun to do, I guess. I'm at this stage in my life where I'm just like, why don't I just do that? And so I do it. And it's kind of a nice stage to be at, honestly, because our whole lives, I feel like when we're little, we dream of all these things we want to do, or even as adults, we're like, I really wish that I could do this thing. And then like, I'm just finally to the point where I'm like, well, why don't I just do that thing? And so I go do that thing. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it must feel nice that you've done so much stuff. You've acted a bit. You've produced so much, directed, and then obviously the podcast. Obviously, you're a psychologist. Lots of hats you're wearing. So that must be a nice thing. Obviously, and I was obviously I was checking that, and obviously that obviously the documentary which is available on Amazon Prime. I think it's called Abduction Chronicles.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and it's available on Amazon Prime. You can rent it out. You can purchase it on there.
Yeah,
So
it's also real cheap to purchase. I think it's like 99 cents to or
very
US
cheap. That's
dollars.
very cheap. That is. You can't get anything for 99 cents, to be honest, these
Yeah,
days.
so we try to keep it low price so that people could watch it, but
Very
the
nice.
fundings of that does go to aid trafficking victims. So that's why there is a price on it, because we were trying to earn money to help trafficking victims at the same time. So
It is. It is. It is. I mean, you can't. Like I said, you can't get anything for 99 cents these days. To
yeah,
be
not these
honest,
days.
you go to the shop, you can't get anything for £1 in the UK pound. You can't get £1 nothing,
Yeah,
zero.
I mean, same here. Not even candy. You can't even. I remember when I was a kid and just being like, $1 meant a week's worth of candy, and now it's like $1 means you have 4 more years before you're gonna have enough saved up before you can buy a candy bar. It's just wild. It's just wild.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've done like I said, you've done lots of stuff. So do you have anything in the works for the new year 2026? Anything planned at the moment?
Well, I did just release a couple of music albums, and I'm still working on some more. So I had
No.
in October, I released two. Again, I swear I have two personalities. I released two albums. One's a children's album, one's like a pop album. And those were songs they were poems that I had written. One of them was a poem I written 17 years ago, even. So they're poems I had written all over the course of years. And I finally just decided to turn them into music, and I sung them, and I put two different albums out. And then I was like, that was really fun. So I made a couple holiday albums as well. And they're the children's holiday. I mean, it's only a couple songs. It's 5 children's songs that are like more holiday themed, wintry theme. And as far as adult music, that hasn't come out yet, but that'll come out within the next week or so. And it's just sort of like wintry music, a little bit holiday, but no religions. It's not like Christmas music or anything. It's just like wintertime holiday music. And then I have a couple more songs that I'm working on, but I am struggling. I'm struggling with them. I really, really like them as poems. I really, really liked them, but I'm trying to make them a little bit more rock than my pop albums, and I am struggling so hard with singing like this more like rock metal tone. But the vibe of the song, I just feel like it can't be anything other than rock. So hopefully those will come out in the next 2 or 3 months. But I'm kind of, I got all the music down, everything, but I'm having a hard time singing them. So those will probably maybe January or February. We'll see. And it's been really fun making music. So I kind of hope
Absolutely.
I kind of hope I keep on that, but it's not like I'm out here promoting myself with my music. So most people know me as a psychologist first, and then maybe something to do with my podcast secondly, and that's like it. I don't talk about my books, I don't talk about my films, I don't talk about my music on my own podcast, so people don't know. uh,
You remind me of someone. It's like it's like a female wrestler called Britt Baker. Well, she's like um, everybody knows her as a wrestler, but obviously she's also a dentist professionally. Yeah,
wow.
and she's a dentist, and 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 there's probably a lot of people who know her as a dentist, but she's that she doesn't that she wrestles as well. So she has like two kind of lives going on there.
Yeah,
So
that's so cool though. I think that's amazing, especially because on paper they seem like two extremes, right? She's the wrestler probably knocking
wrestler who's a
people's teeth
dentist, yeah,
out,
exactly,
and then on the
exactly,
others she's
yeah,
fixing. But to her and what she's experienced and how she's expressing herself, it makes complete sense. Like
it does.
she knows what she's doing.
Exactly. As long as you know what you're doing, you're enjoying it and stuff. That is absolutely the main thing. I think definitely. So we're looking forward to that. And I'm sure it's going to do really really well. And if and obviously if we do get the information, and hopefully, obviously we will obviously try to stay in contact. And if I do get the information on the soon the revamped of the Raj Podcast website, which we will be revamping very soon. We will also feature it on your information on there as well about the released books and stuff.
Awesome.
Um, yeah, which is releasing, but I've not obviously mentioned about my website because it's going to be revamped very soon, and with the new name and stuff. So that do check out for that. Do remember also, guys, that this is available. The audio version of the podcast is available on Apple, Spotify, everywhere, all the good places, Google podcast so you can listen to it as well wherever you're going, and also do check it out and do hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Obviously we will be back very soon in the next few days, so do check it out and for information, and do please check out our YouTube channel. Thank you very much, Jacquelynn Wolfheart, for coming on. It's been a pleasure to have you on. And obviously, and I'm wishing you lots of success for the rest of the year and for 2026.
Thank
And
you.
I'm
Thank
sure
you
it's
so
going to
much.
be a great year for you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.